Every year we head into the season with ridiculous expectations for rookie running backs, and this year is going to be no different at all. Bijan's the obvious one for us to get extremely excited about, whether it's redraft or dynasty. You want Bijan no matter what. But I think Jahmyr Gibbs is starting to kind of get left behind in the conversation, and I think that's a mistake. He brings a unique skill set that we really have not seen in the NFL in a long time, and Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be something great at the next level. Now, any conversation with Jahmyr Gibbs is not complete, or it can't even be had if we don't talk about his weight, right? Obviously, he comes in at 199 pounds at the combine, and that has led a lot of people to say, off my board, he's going to bust, because small running backs do not succeed at the next level. And while that's true to an extent, you have to dig deeper just beyond the weight to really flesh out Jahmyr Gibbs' profile. But let's look at the weight first, right? How does that pan out in the NFL? So since 2006, there have been 63 running backs drafted between 195 and 205 pounds. Now, this excludes any undrafted guys like Austin Eckler or whoever else might come to mind. But this does include, big names or big-ish names that we all know. Elijah Mitchell, Chase Edmonds, James Cook, along with others over the years. Now, when we change the criteria just to look at guys taken in round 1 or round 2, things change, right? That narrows our 63 player sample down to just 12 guys. But I don't want to stop there. I want to, really nail down the profile. So let's look at just early declares. That drops us from 12 players down to 8. And while it's still good to compare him to some guys in the second round, maybe, I don't think it makes all the sense in the world. So if we just look at running backs taken in the top 16 of the first round, we get 3 players. We get, obviously, Jahmyr Gibbs in 2023. We get Christian McCaffrey in 2017, and then you get Reggie Bush in 2006. So it's easy to point to the entire group of 63 and say, see, all small running backs suck. They're not good. Why would you ever draft them? But when you actually filter down to match a profile that Jahmyr Gibbs has, or at least get close, things start to change and it paints a very different picture. And before we get to, all right, well, what does that mean for 2023? What is his total ceiling? The 2 other players we just compared him to, to some extent, they smashed their rookie season for fantasy. Christian McCaffrey finishes as a top 12 running back, averaging over 14 points per game. And then Reggie Bush comes out and averages over 17 points per game in New Orleans his rookie season. That's it, guys. That is what we are aiming for. That is the reason we are so excited about Jahmyr Gibbs. And I don't even think that scratches the surface of what his ceiling could be this season. If we look at the ceiling, it is top 5. That is the type of talent he has at the next level. Right now, when we look at the situation in Detroit, not only do they have an incredible line, they have a well above average offense. They also have an enormous hole looking for the number 2 option in this offense. With Jameson Williams struggling with drops and being suspended for 6 games, you have Sam Laporta, who, again, he's a good rookie tight end, but you're not going to have lofty expectations for any rookie tight end for the most part. So ultimately, that leaves Jahmyr Gibbs to, I think, be the number 2 option in this offense. And with how willing Detroit is to throw the ball, especially to running backs, I think 100 plus targets is well within the range of outcomes, right? You're looking at a guy that if he gets 100 targets and 150 to 160 carries, which is basically the equivalent of the work DeAndre Swift saw on the ground last year, how does Jahmyr Gibbs not get inside the top 10 and then with some touchdown luck fall into the top 5, right? That is obviously the holy grail. That is the ceiling outcome. That's probably not the case as a rookie. I think realistically, a CMC level workload, right? Finishing top 12 at the position is very much on the table. And I mean, he's being drafted as a top 12 running back in redraft, so I hope to God he gets there. But the talent is there to have enormous spike weeks, to have a consistent floor. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be incredible for fantasy and obviously in Dynasty and redraft as well. Obviously, we love him for just 2023. Where does he land in our Dynasty ranks? Well, for me, he's the RB3. I'm fine to put him there right now. Obviously, you have a conversation of putting him ahead of JT, putting him ahead of Christian McCaffrey. But over the next 2 to 3 seasons, who do I think actually gains or maintains value? It's going to be Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs has the investment. He has the situation. He has the talent. Everything I want for me to put him, extremely high in my Dynasty ranks from day one. And ultimately, if I'm this in redraft, if I'm this in Dynasty, what am I giving up to go and get Jahmyr Gibbs onto my roster? Well, like we do with a lot of videos, we're going to take a look at the DLF Trade Finder, show you guys trades that have actually taken place with Jahmyr Gibbs, So let's just go right into it. The first trade that popped up was Jahmyr Gibbs for Drake London. And weirdly enough, there were like 7 or 8 of these. Like a lot of people have just been swapping some variation of Gibbs and London with a second or a third on either side of these players. And I think that's fine. If I am a win now roster, I'm going to make that deal. The next one here is Jahmyr Gibbs for Zay Flowers and a 2024 first. Basically, that's a 2023 first and a 2024 first. That's how you could look at it if this was a couple months back. I'm going to make that deal. I like Zay Flowers. I like random 2024 firsts. But there's not a guarantee I get a better player than Jahmyr Gibbs in the next draft. And the last one here is Jahmyr Gibbs and a 2024 second for Jalen Waddle. Now, this one, I prefer Jalen Waddle, right? I view Jalen Waddle as a top 6 or 7 dynasty wide receiver. I'm never giving up a player of that caliber for any running back, right? Bijan's probably the only one, but longevity, the sake of, avoiding injuries, Jalen Waddle's safer. To me, that's about the line. But again, Jahmyr Gibbs, dynasty RB3, a top 12 running back in 2023. He is someone you need to be all in on. All right, guys, that is all I have for you. Again, if you like what we are doing, subscribe to the channel. If you have questions, you have comments, drop it down below. Check out the DLF website for rankings and articles and a whole bunch of other Dynasty stuff. As always, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.